Picture the night sky, where stars shine quietly but confidently across the vast galaxy. Now imagine if every star hesitated, questioning its right to glow. That's exactly what happens when our inner critic and that little voice in our head is allowed to take control. They dim our light, make us question our worth and our place in the world. You know that little voice in your head, the one that whispers, or is it that shouts that you're not good enough? Maybe it gives you messages of like, you're not ready, or you'll fail if you try, or what are people going to think of you? So in this blog, we're going to recognise that voice for what it is, learn to reframe the messages it's giving to us so that we can rise above it and learn to shine and glow. If we're meeting for the first time, I'm Churchill, and I'm on a mission to help women grow from self-doubt to self-confidence so they can take their career to the next level. I used to be my own worst critic, holding myself back in my own career, so I've learnt tips, tricks and strategies to make sure I get where I want to be, and it's these tips, tricks and strategies that I share with you. So why do we have this inner critic? Well, the inner critic develops as a way to protect you. Early in life, it helps us avoid mistakes or even helps us seek approval where we need it, some guidance as we're growing up. But as we get older and we grow, that voice can become unrelenting, and instead of keeping us safe, it actually is keeping us small. It thrives on a few things. Number one, comparison. We start to measure ourselves against other people and we measure our shortcomings against their successes. Number two, it thrives on perfectionism. We set ourselves impossibly difficult high standards and then beat ourselves up when we don't achieve them. And number three, it thrives on the fear of judgment. We worry ourselves to death what other people are going to think of us when they're not even watching. And by the way, if the people you're hanging around with are judging you, hang around with some different people. So what that little voice is not the voice of reality. It's the voice of worst case scenario possible. It's a reflection of our fears, and it's like a black hole. It sucks us in so we can't see anything else. And when we do this to the point that we can't see anything else, there's consequences that ripple through all of our lives. We miss opportunities because we're afraid to step up or put our hand up or take those opportunities. Why? Because we're afraid we'll fail before we've even started. Our self-esteem gets completely eroded. If we're constantly doubting ourselves and putting self-doubt and self-criticism in there, of course our self-confidence is going to have a knock-on effect. It starts to listen to what that voice is saying. You're not good enough. You're not ready. Do it later. What will people think? And of course, we're stifling all of our potential. If we're dimming our own light, we're not giving a unique gift to the world, which is who we truly are. But here's a top tip for you. Ignoring that little voice will not make it go away. What we need to do is engage with it intentionally. Start talking to ourselves, folks. Welcome to the madhouse. So I'm not joking. We do need to start talking back to it. And here's 3 ways that we start to engage with it in order to overcome it. Number 1 is to identify the voice. Recognise that it's happening. Like I say, don't ignore it. And you'll start to recognise when it's that little voice creeping in. It tends to have a really harsh tone. It repeats itself over and over again, and it's focused on your perceived flaws. In other words, what you think is wrong with you. And when you hear it, you've got to ask yourself, would you speak that way to a friend or anyone for that matter? And secondly, is it telling the truth? Is what that little voice is saying factual, or is it based on fears? Awareness, like I say so often, is the first step always to overcoming these things that are going on inside us. So number 2, once you've heard it, I want you to challenge the message, challenge what that voice is saying to you. Question the validity of the statements it's making. Then replace negative self-talk with some positive affirmations, some positive facts. Your inner critic might say, "You're never going to get this right." You need to answer that back with, "Every time I try, I get a little bit better." Or, "Every time something goes wrong, it's one step closer to getting it right." Reframing these messages is a huge step to going from self-doubt to self-confidence. It's what I'm all about, right? And number 3, focus on action. The best way to silence that critic is to take action, even if the action is imperfect. Every step you take forwards is evidence that you're capable and you're worthy. So like a star on a cloudy night that's fought its way through those clouds to shine down on us anyway, your light becomes undeniable. You shine regardless. So in summary, your inner critic might be loud, but it's not unstoppable. By identifying that it's there, challenge the message it's giving to you, and taking the action, you can overcome it and reclaim your self-confidence. Remember, even the brightest stars like Sirius, they don't question their right to shine, and you shouldn't either. And if self-doubt and the inner critic are holding you back, you won't want to miss my upcoming workshop, From Self-Doubt to Self-Confidence, 5 Ways to Overcome Imposter Syndrome and Reclaim Your Self-Confidence. It's a transformative session and you'll come away from it with personalised strategies, actionable steps that you can actually put into place to overcome the self-doubt and overcome the imposter syndrome. There's a link to that right below this video where you can get more details and sign up if you think it's for you. So go ahead and do that now. As ever, I appreciate your feedback. It helps me to bring the stuff you're looking for, and it helps other people to find my stuff as well, so always appreciated. Any comments or questions, please leave them down below. A thumbs up is always appreciated. And of course, for more like this, please subscribe to the channel. In the meantime, remember you're amazing. Go and check out the link to the workshop, and you have an amazing week.